Well, hello everyone and happy Wednesday. It is digital host AJ Wuest welcoming you back to Before the 4, the live stream where I take you through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching Before the 4 today, whether that is on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, as always, thank you so much for watching. Now it is about time we jump into it, and starting things off in Decatur, where earlier today the police department held a press conference to address new details about a fatal shooting at Nash Barbecue. Now the shooting happened early Saturday morning in the business's parking lot. 18-year-old Deshaun Lewis was found suffering from gunshot wounds. Lewis was transported to the hospital where he later died from his injuries. Now today, officials said the juvenile suspect turned themselves into police just before 10 a.m. Decatur Police Chief Todd Pinion says the juvenile will be charged with murder and transferred to a detention facility. Now since the suspect is a juvenile, their identity will not be released, but this investigation remains ongoing. But now, let's talk about the latest forecast for the rest of the week. 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis takes a look. Brad?
AJ, as promised, we got scattered showers, but boy, has it warmed up today. It's awfully muggy out there. That's going to fuel the potential for a few heavy downpours. Still an isolated thunderstorm or two, but storm chances are kind of passing us by as that warm front, I think, is already lifted to the north the way it feels outside. So these showers will be around into the evening hours, and we'll continue to see at least a chance overnight tonight. But notice how warm it stays tonight. Probably looking at record low temperatures here as far as record low maximum temperatures in the 60s, and that's above normal for afternoon highs, by the way. As we go past 5:45 this evening, a lot of this rain begins to continue to develop along and east of I-65, tracking to the east. We clear out a bit tonight, but don't be surprised if there's a touch of fog. However, that wind out of the south at 10, that may keep that fog from forming. And tomorrow morning, a mix of sun and clouds, temperatures starting off in the 60s, and just a few spotty passing showers out there. And I think we're going to hit the low 70s again tomorrow as we continue on into tomorrow evening. Just more of the same, passing showers. I think we see fewer showers Friday and Saturday before the rain really starts to move in, with temperatures falling into the 40s. That's right, temperatures in the 40s by Sunday afternoon. Big changes and a lot more rain ahead. More on this coming up.
Well, thank you, Brad. Now, today, February 5th, marks the 15-year anniversary of the Discovery Middle School shooting in Madison, a tragic day that left 14-year-old Todd Brown dead. And today, 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy spoke with Madison Mayor Paul Finley, who remembers that dreadful day. Take a look.
On February 5th, 2010, Todd Brown was walking down a hallway at Discovery Middle School when he was shot in the back of the head by classmate Hamad Miman. Madison Mayor Paul Finley still remembers where he was at when he first heard what happened.
I'm meeting with our city council president in this office and receive a phone call from my fire chief that there's been a shooting at Discovery. Obviously, your heart sinks immediately.
Parents rushed to the school as news of the shooting spread.
You could see some that were shaking, some that were crying, some that were in shock. Everybody wanted to get their baby in their car, and we understood that.
Following that shooting, Mayor Finley, the Madison City School Superintendent, and the school board all created a task force to examine what measures could be implemented to prevent another horrible situation.
When I saw people that devastated, it helped us as leaders commit that much more to making sure that they had the funding and the personnel and the things that were needed.
School leaders decided to install dual lock doors. They also created a phone line where people can text or email their safety concerns. Finley says the Text to Protect line is making a big difference today.
Last year, when we had the gun found at Liberty, one of the reasons that we were able to get to that was information that came through Text to Protect, and we followed through with that and found the problem.
Madison City School Superintendent Dr. Ed Nichols tells me there are a few other measures also in place to keep students safe.
We have our alert badges that we put in the last 2 years that if someone sees someone on campus or is concerned about something can lock a school down. We also have expanded to hiring outside security personnel at each school along with our SROs to monitor, and then locking down our entrances with a buzzer system.
Well, thank you, Sarah Grace. And now in Huntsville, where a person is injured after a shooting late last night. Huntsville police say officers responded to Rebecca Pines Drive around 11 p.m. last night for a reported shooting in progress. When officers arrived on scene, they say they couldn't find the victim who had been reportedly shot. Eventually, the victim was located in a parking lot located on Slaughter Road. Authorities say the person sustained a gunshot wound and was taken to the hospital for treatment. The suspect was found at the original location and was identified as a resident of the home. Authorities continue to investigate what led up to the shooting. But now in Coleman, where a 23-year-old was killed in a single vehicle crash early this morning. State troopers say the crash happened at 2:10 a.m. on Coleman County 616 near Coleman County 468. Now 4 miles west of Huntsville is where it happened. They say 23-year-old Kobe Tankersley was killed when the truck he was driving left the roadway, struck a fire hydrant, then a cable box. After the impact, the truck overturned and struck multiple trees. Tankersley was pronounced dead on the scene, and state troopers are continuing to investigate. Well, late last night, Governor Kay Ivey gave her annual State of the State address, in which she spoke much about education, inviting students at Danville Neal Elementary to attend, and spoke about banning cell phones in the classroom, stating they have become a distraction, hindering student learning. 48's Margot Gray tells us more.
We are, in fact, not just a football state. Alabama is an education state.
Governor Ivey was in the mood to celebrate, especially after the achievements and gains Alabama students have made in reading and math scores, touting the fact that Alabama saw the largest jump in math scores in the country last year. And to drive home the point,
this evening, I'm excited to have with us some students who have math figured out.
brimming with pride and joy were the fourth graders she welcomed from Danville Neal Elementary School in Morgan County.
Boys and girls, congratulations on this achievement. Please stand and let us recognize you.
18,000 students have already taken Alabama up on the offer of school choice, with state-funded education savings accounts for parents to use for private school tuition or other educational needs.
Beginning next school year, these ESAs will give more Alabama families greater flexibility in choosing an education that suits their child's individual needs. Importantly, y'all, we are funding students, not systems.
The governor also laid down the gauntlet to ban cell phones in schools.
According to a recent survey, 72% of high school teachers in the country reported that cell phones are distracting their students. Let's create the best learning environment for our students and get this bill to my desk so I can sign it into law.
And supporting education doesn't stop at students.
If a teacher wants to start a family, she should have the proper maternity leave.
Saying she will sign a bill granting teachers and state employees maternity leave if it comes to her desk.
Thank you, Margot. And now let's talk about those rising egg prices we're seeing across the nation. 48's Nick Ballinger reports on the egg shortage and how it's affecting us here in the Tennessee Valley. Take a look.
Entirely empty egg shelves like these are plaguing Huntsville shoppers as bird flu cases crack into national egg supplies.
Oh, there were times that we could run over to Walmart if we happened to be out or if we happened to be running low, and you could buy a 5-dozen thing of it for about $3.50.
That's not an option anymore for Allison Pomeroy, the owner of Batter Up Bakery.
And we go through almost 120 dozen a week. Today, I just placed an order for 30 dozen, and it was $204.
Pomeroy says that same order of eggs cost her $68 just 7 months ago.
It's a lot of sleepless nights. One of the things that we try to pride ourselves on is being an affordable bakery. So just trying to find ways to save as much as we can, but without, breaking our bank and then still being able to keep our doors open to serve all of our customers.
Others are trying different ways to avoid breaking the bank as well, by ditching the shopping cart completely and going straight to the source. The assistant manager at Rural King in Huntsville says her order of 300 live chicks was wiped out in less than a week.
We usually sell quite a few, but this has been an increase. We've sold probably say upwards of about 300.
Shannon Bryant has been raising her own chicks for years. The only eggs her family eats are the ones her chickens lay. She was hoping to restock after raccoons wiped out her flock in the winter. The empty chick bins were a shock to her.
With the prices of everything going up, I don't blame people for wanting to raise their own eggs and their own stuff to eat, because in the long run it's going to be a whole lot cheaper if you raising your own.
Her daughter says the free eggs aren't the only upside.
I think chickens are the cutest thing. I think they're kind of better than puppies.
Well, now coming up after the break, we'll head out to the Shoals where the family of a man who died in surgery is filing a lawsuit. The Huntsville College Preparatory School closing its doors. The latest on the Middle East after President Trump's meeting with Netanyahu yesterday. And an awesome event to attend this weekend for free in Huntsville. It's all ahead. I'll see you in 1 minute. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Before the Four. Now heading out to the Shoals, 48's Aria Pons recently spoke with the family of a Muscle Shoals man who tragically died on the operating table while getting surgery. Aria Pons with more.
And it's just hit me lately that Bill is never coming back.
Beverly Bryan says there's not a day that goes by when she doesn't dearly miss her late husband, William Bryan. She says while they were on vacation in Pensacola, her husband began having side pains, which led to him having surgery. She says a doctor named Thomas Sheknovsky wrongfully removed her husband's liver during that surgery and ultimately killed him.
He was a wonderful man, just kind and generous and friendly and outgoing and always smiling. And he's missed so much. It's almost unbearable.
Now she's suing Sheknovsky and the hospital over her husband's death. She says this is not the first time Sheknovsky has had a malpractice lawsuit filed against him, but she hopes it's the last.
It's a never event that I hope that Bill's death is the reason that it never happens again.
Bryan's attorney, Joe Zarzar, is filing the lawsuit against Sheknovsky, the hospital, some of the management team, and the nurses that were in the operating room. Zarzar maintains that the hospital and its staff tried to cover up the botched surgery.
They tried to pass it off to everybody, including the medical examiner's office, as a ordinary complication. Florida law also requires that you fill out a form for the death certificate that has a listed cause of death. And that listed cause of death by Dr. Sheknovsky was this splenic artery aneurysm.
Beverly says she knows in her heart that her husband would want his death to mean something, adding she wants to stop this from happening to anyone else.
It's hard to move past it.
Zarzar says the civil lawsuit will take some time. However, at the end of it, he hopes that each party is held responsible for Bryan's death. Reporting in Muscle Shoals, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
Such a tragic situation there, Aria, thank you. Yesterday, we also learned that a Huntsville College prep school will close its doors. 48's Callie Neese has the details.
These are emails from concerned parents and teachers of the now closed Huntsville College Preparatory School. Many emails from former staff members at HCPS saying that they have not been paid or received bad checks. Even the landlord told me when he received checks from the school, they bounced. This school taught students with learning differences who want to go further in life. One parent told me he was very happy with his son's education until recently. He says they have been out of school for over a week now. He sent me this string of emails from the school attempting to explain the sudden closure. Many of the claims in this email thread going back to January 25th have been contradicted. Originally, the school said they were closing for a few days due to a pipe bursting. However, the owner of the property had no knowledge of a pipe break. They also claimed that they received negative press. At last check, today's story is the only one published about this school in a negative light. Desiree Mumford, a former teacher here at HCPS, told me the students were absolutely not getting the education they deserve due to issues in the school relating to Wi-Fi and teachers leaving.
At a foundational level, I don't think that the kids were receiving like the adequate amount of education that they needed at this time, being that they do have disabilities.
There was another email shared from the school to parents addressing serious allegations on social media that the school closure really boils down to a massive scheme to embezzle money. In the letter, the Dean of Students says those claims are entirely false. I personally reached out to the Dean of Students and the principal multiple times since last Wednesday, and I have yet to hear back. Reporting in Huntsville, Cali News 48 News, on your side.
And Cali News will be following up on the closure tonight in our evening newscast. Make sure to stick around. But now a story in national news. President Trump is facing growing backlash this morning after floating a controversial plan to have the U.S. take over, redevelop, and eventually own Gaza. The remarks followed a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who did not appear to be opposed to the idea. NBC Chief White House Correspondent Peter Alexander has the latest.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
President Trump endorsing America moving into one of the world's most volatile regions.
We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings.
The plan involving the displacement of the entire population of Gaza, more than 2 million Palestinians. The president framing it as an economic opportunity.
The Riviera of the Middle East. This could be so magnificent.
Hosting Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, President Trump said that in his vision of Gaza, Palestinians could return eventually, but that for now, they should be taken in by other countries like Egypt and Jordan. But many Gazans do not want to leave, and neighboring Arab countries have repeatedly said they won't take them in. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell asked if the president meant a permanent occupation.
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East.
Later, not ruling out deploying U.S. troops to Gaza.
If it's necessary, we'll do that.
It's a remarkable reversal for President Trump, who's vowed to stop endless wars in the Middle East.
It is not the duty of U.S. troops to solve ancient conflicts in faraway lands.
Netanyahu saying the proposal was worth pursuing.
He has a different idea, and I think it's worth paying attention to this.
Democrats quickly condemning the idea of troops in Gaza.
It will be a moment of great danger for Americans.
Senator Chris Coons telling journalists, "You can report that I was speechless."
That's insane. I can't think of a place on earth that would welcome American troops less and where any positive outcome is less likely.
Even Republicans expressing caution. Conservative Senator Tom Tillis saying, quote, "Obviously it's not going to happen." And Trump ally Lindsey Graham.
I think that'd be a tough place to be assigned if you're an American soldier. We'll see what the Arab world says, but, you know, that'd be problematic at many, many levels.
Well, thank you. And now in state news, a little more than 2 weeks into the Trump administration, and the Department of Homeland Security is reporting more than 8,700 immigrants have been arrested. With the increase in detainees, ICE is looking to reopen some of the facilities closed by the Biden administration. This could include the Etowah County Jail in Alabama. Zoe Blair reports.
This is the facility where the migrants were housed until it was shut down in 2022. In just a few weeks, they could be back here. The facility closed after pressure from human rights groups like Shutdown Etowah.
It's just not an appropriate place for people to be kept. And so all these groups were saying, this place needs to be shut down. And the Biden administration recognized that was true and shut it down.
When ICE stopped using the facility in 2022, they cited jail conditions as the reason. The groups hoping to close the facility considered that a victory. Now, 3 years later, folks like Lisa Moyer are sad to hear the facility could reopen.
It makes me feel exhausted and so sad that more people are going to be subjected to this kind of treatment.
But she's also ready to start that fight again.
I'm ready to go to do the right thing and try to make sure that people are treated humanely. And, it's given me energy to be ready to work to shut it down once again.
The sheriff's office says the facility is ready to welcome ICE again, but Moyer thinks more needs to be done.
I don't imagine that this stuff has changed much. The reports, I just can't imagine much has changed at all.
Before the jail is able to house the immigrants again, they'll have to pass an inspection. The sheriff's office tells me they are ready and expect to pass to be able to house those immigrants.
Well, thank you. Well, if you're looking for something fun to do in Huntsville this weekend without drinking or consuming alcohol, one thing you can do at St. Stephen's Music Hall on Sunday is to attend the Sober Sunday series. Today I spoke with Stephanie Jennings with Best Life Recovery and Evan Billiter with St. Stephen's, and take a listen to what they had to say about the series. Or let's talk a little bit about Sober Sundays and how the proceeds directly benefit people at Best Life Recovery.
Yes, so Sober Sunday, it's a free event, but donations go to help Best Life Recovery. And what that looks like is, like I said, when women come in and they don't have food, transportation, and if they can't pay initially, so it helps get someone, their first 2 weeks rent, and just helps them, direct services. So in addition to, we are working a program of recovery, but, some they have to go to counseling, different things. So it just helps with all of that.
Absolutely.
It's been my purpose since I just got 10 years in recovery. And
wow, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And I know at the beginning, it would have made a huge difference if I would have had a helping hand to get where I needed to get. It wouldn't have been such a struggle. I might have been able to get things going a little quicker. Instead, I had to struggle. But once I started working a program of recovery, the women here in the community really helped me. And so in turn, I learned what that was like helping someone else. So.
Yes, ma'am. And as someone who has gone through this cycle, you definitely know how it feels firsthand.
Yes, that's where, the program is based on my experience, strength, and hope. And if I can recover, anyone can recover. Recovery is possible. And that's what Sober Sunday is about, showing the community, it's a safe space for people in recovery, but it's also a safe space for people who just don't want to drink for whatever their reason is, or for people who are curious about what recovery looks like. That's why we have Not One More Alabama has their resource table there, and we're handing out Narcan and different things. So it's also support where families can come and see what it would look like, and that recovery is fun because obviously if being sober, clean and sober wasn't fun, why would anybody want to stay clean and sober? So recovery is possible, but learning how to do all the things that I used to do, but I would be drinking or whatever, but now doing it sober, that's the new normal.
That's right.
So.
And Sober Sundays at St. Stephen's Music Hall this Sunday. Come on out. It's going to be an awesome time. Now, that full 48 Now interview has not quite been posted on our website, but keep an eye out for it in the next few hours. We'll have it up there for you all to watch and read for sure. But awesome, awesome event there. But now let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. A new council member in Muscle Shoals. 48's Aria Pons tells us all about them coming up. Another story you're just not going to want to miss, the Aniah's Law hearing for the suspect who allegedly shot and killed a clerk at Circle K in Harvest. 48's Noah Cowell will have more on that. And finally, the Shoals Regional Airport now offering flights to Florida. We'll have more details coming up in our evening newscast. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss. Now it is time for Facebook fun. That is right. Our 48 Facebook question of the day: if you could describe yourself as a breed of cat or dog, what would you be? And major shout out to my fellow digital staffer, Miss Javon Williams, who came up with this brilliant question. And let's see what you all had to say. I really am curious to see what different breeds of cat and dog you all are. Dave Allen said a boxer, ferociously protective, but also goofy and loves treats. I think I have a little bit of boxer in me, honestly, especially the latter part of that statement, the goofy and loves treats. But awesome comment there. Gotta love boxers. Boxers are adorable too. Dave, thank you so much for commenting. Let's see who else commented. April, she is 5'1", so definitely the Chihuahua. Now, Chihuahuas, April, might be very small, but they think they're 7 feet tall. They are ferocious little guys, without a doubt. Those Chihuahuas, you don't want to mess with them, that is for sure. But April, awesome comment there. Absolutely. Samantha said, not sure about myself, but my 12-year-old son is definitely a golden doodle. Aw, how adorable. They are both wild, crazy, funny, and exceptionally smart. Well, Samantha's son, that is awesome. Sounds like that is a very good dog breed to be. Absolutely. Mandy said, a Great Dane. I'm 6'2", have ADHD, and as clumsy as a newborn giraffe. You gotta love Great Danes, though. You got to love them. Mandy, thank you so much. And then Lucia said a Siamese cat. And Siamese cats are adorable as well. But awesome. I'm trying to think what I might be. I am honestly not sure what breed of dog. I've been told I can sometimes be a golden retriever, whatever that means. But I am going to, honestly, I'm going to let you all decide what breed of dog or cat am I. That is what I want to know. But that is all she wrote for today's Before the Four. Thank you all for sticking around, spending a little bit of your Wednesday afternoon here. And make sure you enjoyed tonight's evening newscast. If you haven't done so already, make sure you download the 48 digital app, the 48 First Alert weather app. You'll definitely need that as the rain continues to move in. And then the 48 Sport Zone app. You might want that for the upcoming Super Bowl this Sunday. But download those apps, turn on those push notifications, and you will never miss a breaking news story. But that's all the time I have. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and you all have a great night.